Hey, this is Cal with the Birdies and Bourbon podcast, and you're listening to the Chasing Daylight podcast. Cheers.
Yeah, the head bob early.
It's good tunes.
What is up, everybody? Got another great episode for you this week, live from the Pacific Northwest. The man, the myth, the legend, Bradley Putters is on the show. This is the Chasing Daylight podcast. So Brad, cheers to you for coming on the show. Thank you very much.
Oh, I got my my Mountain Dew ready to go. So,
Oh yeah, there we
there,
go.
yeah, I know, right? No, left all my good bourbon at home, so this is what I'm doing right now.
Keep the bourbon out of the shop. That's probably a good thing.
Oh, there's a lot of bourbon in the shop.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's all private, and yeah, I've got a buddy that I used to rent this place out, but he liked it so much. He's like, I just want it for myself, so now it's just his to use every once, and there is enough to drown a sailor in here. So.
Oh wow,
it's good stuff too, real good stuff.
So are you? Joe has got me kind of hooked on the bourbon of late. Or are you a connoisseur of the finer barrel alcoholic drinks?
My wife is more into that than I am. She
really? Wow.
makes all the fancy stuff. Like she does full bar. I mean, she's a nurse, but like you got a bar at home that she'll make some good stuff. No, I've got a weird tongue thing where like I've got a tongue disease that it tastes way spicier than it actually is, just because my tongue is so messed up. So I love great whiskeys and all that, but they just bite a little too hard for me. So I mean, it's dumb. But drank a Grand Cru over the weekend at Bandon last weekend. Just got gifted a Blanton's, so I'm gonna be enjoying some of that shortly. But yeah, no, honestly, my drink of choice is eggnog and White Christmas. So don't judge me.
Well, welcome to the season, right?
Yeah, right.
It is.
You can find eggnog everywhere right now.
I know.
July.
I'm like looking for the expiration dates. Like which one's the latest? And like stock up because it goes dry real quick here.
Well, Jeremy is a huge purveyor of the hydration drinks, so he never really joins us for the bourbon. But so you're in fine company. You're in fine company.
Yeah, good deal.
So how was Bandon last week?
It was awesome. I mean, I'm close enough. Like I'm about 2.5 hours away. So it's always like I feel like I should be going more than I actually am. But no, it's awesome. I've got a really good crew that goes over. One of my buddies has a house over there that we get to stay at. And the one kicker is it's a social media dark place because it's really nice. And the family doesn't want, people really knowing about it too much, even though I'm kind of talking about it, but I can't really talk about it. So yeah, we get to stay in this ridiculous place that no one ever gets to see or hear about. And then that's just like 10 minutes from the course. And then, yeah, we played, we played Pacific Dunes and Old Mac. So yeah, birdied 18 on Pacific Dunes, had a couple really good shots at Old Mac and a couple really bad shots at Old Mac. What's that one? Is it 13 at Old Mac that goes up the hill, par 4? You've got like the ghost tree on the right. You've got the cliff on the right. You've got all those crazy dunes on the left, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Monster hole. There wasn't like hardly anyone to speak of. And I poked a drive into the bunker behind the green.
Wow.
Oh.
Right? Yeah.
That's
Big
monster.
I felt real good about that. But wait, the very next hole, you're going back, par 5. If I could hit that same drive again, I would be golden, right? Like I would just like maybe even not even a 3-wood up to the green and be set. No, I duck hook it into that bunker that no one ever goes in on the right, so left-handed. And then I had one mulligan because we didn't do a range day because the practice range is currently down. They're rebuilding it, so there's just the sheep ranch one, and we didn't even want to deal with that because it was packed the day before. And so we all had one mulligan to use. Like, I'll use my mulligan right there. Duck hook it again, even worse, into the bunker. And so then
that is not a fun place over there.
It was off. So I made a great shot out of there, but I wasn't even thinking about what's ahead. So I'm like, I'm just going to blast this thing. Now I heard you guys talking about on the last podcast, like how hard the sand is to get out of. And like, I did as hard as I could. Great shot. Got a slow-mo. Looks amazing. Went into the next bunker on the left side of the fairway. Blast out of that one. hit just the most beautiful 3-wood I could have possibly hit. Like, again, lefty. So I had like a low draw that just kind of like rises up the hill there. And it's just like starts bouncing right where I wanted it to. And just absolutely perfect, going right at the flag. I'm like, I think I made it, guys. Like, that's going to be the weirdest part of my life, but this is awesome. And so I get up there. I don't see the ball.
In the
bunker. So I'm like legitimately looking, is it in the hole? It's not, of course. So I walk behind. There's no bunker behind the green. Like, behind the green, it's just grass.
Right.
Except for this one, like, there's a tuft of grass up the hill that just caught a bunch of sand. That's where my ball was. In the sand, in like this makeshift stupid bunker. So then I blasted out of there 2 feet, and then I chip. Yeah, it was a monster of a hole. It destroyed me. So
yeah, that area behind the green, that's like a bunker. That's
it's just a little
sand.
waste.
It's
thing.
just,
yeah.
it's just, but it's
like
real short. You know, it's like almost like a little mini half pipe.
Yep.
That is not fun hitting out of.
No, I got screwed every which way on that hole. I felt like a king on 13 and a pauper on 14. So Old Mac will do that to you.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Okay, so how many you've been abandoned a handful of times, right?
Many times. Yeah. I've gone with all sorts of people. I've played with caddies, played with just one other guy. I've played did the solstice, saw you guys there.
Yeah.
I've done it's a very special place. Played with a lot of cool people in all different weather. I've played in 40-mile-per-hour rain. And I played in Bluebird in February. So, God bless that place.
All right, so let's get your rankings. Everybody's got to have their rankings. None are wrong.
Yeah. Well, so mine is by time of day.
Ooh.
So if it's a morning round, I want to play Old Mac because the sunrise on Old Mac with all the undulations.
Oh, epic!
It's epic. And the reason we did sunset round at Old Mac this last trip, and you got a really cool sunset with the ghost tree silhouetted. It's awesome, but you're ending so far away from the ocean that you're not going to get a good ocean sunset view there. So it's not really the best. Like Bandon Dunes is probably one of the better ones for evening. But either Bandon or Pacific for evening, and then midday I like trails because then with the wind, like you get interesting pockets. You can get away from the wind a little bit in there, but it just depends on the time of the day. And then Sheep Ranch, it's not one of my favorites, but I prefer to play it when it's windy because it gives you a reason to why you didn't play it well.
Dude,
if it's not windy, then you should play well there.
I feel like Sheep, you have to play in the wind. I mean, that's what it's built for. Like, just get out there and suck it up, dude. You know, that's what it was made for.
We did it in February this year, and it was windy and awful. And so the first hole, it's kind of the wind's coming north, so it's kind of like you got the trees there. I bombed a drive and had maybe 200 something in, but the wind was blowing probably 30 miles per hour left to right, and so I had to aim about 40 yards left of the green and hit a draw in there, middle of the green. But it ballooned, just bananaed. It was amazing. And then at Solstice, I think I hit. Was that Solstice? No. It was Solstice. I hit a driver on a Pack Dunes, I think number what's that par 3? 17?
Yes, the long one.
Yeah, I hit driver there and didn't even reach the green, pulled it right. And then the next hole, I hit driver 7-iron over the green on the par 5 and birdied it. So, that was...
Well, we played...
It's just amazing in wind.
Because we got there for the Solstice, we got there on Sunday. And we played... Sheep in the morning, right, Joe?
No. We played trails
and then Sheep in the afternoon.
No, Sheep the next morning.
Oh, that's right. We just played and then Preserve and then Sheep the next morning. That's right.
Yeah.
So we on 16, the par 3, I hit a 4-iron because we had 30-mile-an-hour winds. It was like a 140-yard shot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the Solstice, that was our last round. So we ended out there, and it was like 60-mile-an-hour wind. I hit driver on that hole.
Yeah,
I hit a punch driver.
Yeah. Well, and I hit my ball so high that when the wind's going with me, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And then, I can't remember the hole, but I think Pack Dunes, the par 3, where it's up the hill, you've got that crazy bunker on the right, and it's like 140, 150-yard shot. Ocean's just on the left there.
11. Mm-hmm.
I think, I'm pretty sure it's 11. Anyways, I mashed a 3-wood
Oh
and
wow.
straight into the teeth. And it ballooned probably 170 feet in the air or more and dropped about 12 feet behind the hole. It was one of the
Wow.
best shots of the entire time at the solstice. And I, of course, missed the putt. But,
Oh, of
I
course.
mean, it was insane wind.
Yeah,
But
that
just
was
as memorable.
crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. And just it creates so many memories. That's the thing. It's like you remember all your shots, and that's what's so magnificent about that place.
And you got to get so creative too, because
Yeah.
when else are you hitting a 3-wood on a 140-yard par 3?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we just last week we had Cal on because he had a trip there, and I was telling him when I was on his show, I said, as long as you've got a knockdown, 160-yard 4-iron, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And mine
'Cause
tends
everybody's
to
got that bad.
not
bad
knock
drive.
down. Yeah. Yeah. I, again, hit the ball just way too friggin' high. So, oh, look, so Nick Gates, he's the one who I played with last week, and he's he hit some stupidly ridiculous shots. 18 at Old Mac. So he hit, I think, that's a par
It's
4. He hit to the right of the bunker, like hit the cart path, and he was just out in no man's land. And because it's got a huge hill. Like the green is just sloping massively on
it's like a
the left
punch
side of
bowl.
it. Yeah. So he hits what I thought it was a well struck shot, but I'm like, oh, it's gonna get caught up there in the junk. It doesn't. It he hits it from probably 170 out, lands perfectly right on the top of the green, and trickles down to like
all the way
8 feet.
down.
Yeah.
That's,
He missed the putt though.
That's such a fun
But
one to hit into.
he still won. It was
It's a great
the undulations
hole,
there just like you have to be so creative, and if you know how to play it well, it's not that hard. Like you have
if you know those
room
greens
to the left there,
Yeah.
right?
Like
You
you
can't
can
hit it
hit
the wrong
it
spot.
you can hit it to the left side of the green and the pin's all the way on the right. Like if you know what the green does, you're in good shape.
Yeah,
You're set.
it's not that. It's not.
And then
that
if you
hard.
know that you need to land up there on the left and you hit it 10 yards short like I did, and you end up down low to the right, you're kind of screwed.
One of my
Yeah.
one of my best rounds ever out there is it's tied my PB a 75 on Old Mac, and the caddy I had told me, I'm going to hand you a club, you just hit it. I'm going to tell you where to hit it, you just hit it. And I mean, having that knowledge of where to go, it changes the whole thing.
Yeah. No, I think this last time I played Old Mac, I think I shot like a 86 or something, like nothing great. Solstice though, or first round of the day was Old Mac. We were the first group off, like 5:20 tee time, and I could not have. My drive on 3 went dead over the top of the ghost tree, like right over the top of it. Drove the green and 3 putted for par because I was 90 feet away, but I'll take that. Ended up with a 73, best round of my life. I shot under par other places, but yes. And then I went 73, 83 at Sheep, I think, and then 91 at Bandon and 87 at Pacific. So it was all over the place. But that 73 at Old Mac, no one can take that from me. That was
no.
That's a good.
Do you remember what your time was?
Yeah, we went out at 5:20 and we got done at 5:45. And I had done an anniversary trip with my wife. Like we road tripped from Lincoln City, which is like northwest Oregon on the coast, all the way down to Santa Barbara, stopping a couple different places on the way, and then drove back. I got back Monday at like 8 in the morning or something ridiculous, 3 in the morning, something ridiculous, terrible time. And then that day went over to Bandon. I wasn't supposed to be in the solstice. We were on the alternate list, and somebody busted their calf muscle or something and couldn't go. And they called me up since I'm just 2.5 hours away, and snuck in. So I wasn't planning on it. I had done zero prep work. I just am now getting over my blisters. It was crazy. But it was amazing. Like
this head cover though that we got at that solstice.
Oh yeah.
The
72.
Oh my goodness.
So
I show that off. That one's never in my bag.
No, it stays on my driver.
Yeah,
always.
I got on my 3-wood. I got my driver one is from a course I played in the World Par 3 Championship in Bermuda. I was one of the sponsors. Yeah, so there's this really cool course called Turtle Hill, and it is like every single one of those par 3s, kind of like 17 at Trails, right? Like really cool looking par 3, like iconic. Every single one of those holes, like you're in Bermuda, each one of those would be kind of that hole for trails. Like they're each insane and amazing. And like Bermuda doesn't have a whole lot of elevation, but it's on elevation. I mean, it's kind of like it's a small island, but it just goes up on both sides. And you're just playing like downhill, uphill, side step. Insane. Met a lot of cool people. And yeah, got this really cool head cover. Went to like the Bacardi headquarters and got to play some of the ridiculous courses there. So again, one of those things that like I earned that head cover. So it's not when I just bought like it's staying on there because I earned it. Like
Right.
It's a good,
100%.
good way to think about it.
right.
Let me ask you this real quick. So, you've been to Bandon many times, right?
Right.
How would you compare? Because was Solstice where we met you at? That was your first Solstice ever, right?
Right.
Like, how would you compare that experience to like a normal trip to Bandon? Like,
Good question.
Is it better? Is it?
No.
Is it?
It's
I mean,
different.
obviously it's different, but
well, I tell people like I have a lot of people that haven't gone and we're like, oh, I want to do Solstice. I'm like, do not do that as your first one. Like
that was me. That was me.
Really? Oh, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we did 85. We didn't do 72. We did preserve after.
Yeah, I know
So-
you guys.
Preserve
I had high hopes of doing that, and my feet. There's no way. We went and passed out in front of the or behind the 18th tee or 18th green on Bandon, and just drank. Yeah, drank some good drinks, and our dogs were barking, so we let them out to play and took our shoes off. So yeah, well done, you guys. But no, it's a marathon. It's I mean, it is. Yeah, it's intense. You know, you got to go to bed. It's kind of like only way I can think of saying is like it's like a wedding night versus a first date. Like you don't want to go just straight to the wedding night, which is like a crazy marathon, you know, versus go to Bandon. Like you got to get to know each course like on its own and spend the time. And at Solstice, you don't have that time. You're just go,
Yeah.
and you don't get to know each course individually. And so you can't just get married without knowing them all, which you did, Joe. So good for you.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my thought.
We're Nish and Chris, two very amateur golfers, on a quest to play the top 100 courses in the UK and Ireland, after Chris set this challenge on a drunken Saturday night in my kitchen. Join us on our frequently humorous journey of a lifetime as we grapple with the logistical and financial challenge of playing some of the best courses in the world, as well as grappling with our games, because let's face it, it's never just about playing. Sometimes the score matters too. Listen to the Top 110 Golf Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
I mean, you are correct in the fact that like obviously the first round, like we played Bandon Dunes first, and that was a whirlwind. Like we did that in what?
3 hours.
No, it was less than 3 hours. It was like
250.
Yeah.
It was 220, I think.
220 is what we did our first one, and I think a lot of
Okay.
it was pretty fast.
I can't remember. It was a blur. We
my
were
heart was
blazing.
beating. I was so like hyped, and I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, so
it's too fast. Like for the first round, like you guys were saying the last one, you know, either go with someone that you know, or at least get a caddy. There's too much going on. There's too many nuances to the course to just go in blind, and especially to do all 4 courses in one day. You just can't remember it. Now, once you've done them all and enjoyed it, then yeah, the Solstice is awesome. But honestly, I'm probably like I have no plans to do it again. Like I'm not trying to get back on the list or anything. No. So my wife and I, our anniversary is on June 18th, and we do cool trips for that. So like the road trip down to Santa Barbara was awesome. Like driving the 101 and the 1, and like I get to play golf in cool places, but that like. The anniversary time with the wife's more important to me. Than
and it's like always Father's Day,
right? It's like which is
family
time and stuff.
That's
like,
a tough one.
I wanted to do, it was a bucket list item, but for me, it's
100%.
Like, it went perfect. I got to go off very first. I met some really cool dudes. 2 guys, both named Jason, and then a guy named Rob. Really interesting guys. Played really well for me. Great weather, like good weather to start, windy weather, like kind of got the whole gamut. Like can't ask for a whole lot more than that, you know? So I feel like if I try to do it again, I'd be chasing the perfection that was, and there's no way I'd reach that. Like I don't know how it could be better.
I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, I played in the Bandon Solstice. Like it's a badge, you know, it's,
Hell yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah.
100% a bucket list item.
And-
I would love to do it every year. It's very difficult to do it every year. Like when me and Matt, when we finished our last round, there was a dude, he was like 85.
Oh my God.
And he's played every
He's been in every one.
solstice
Wow.
since it started.
Wow.
He's been in every one. And you know,
Amazing.
I was walking around like I had a chip on my shoulder. This is my third solstice. I've been 3 times. And then I look across the street and then you start hearing, oh, this is my 8th. This is my 9th. This is my 7th. This is my 8th. And then
Jason
some
had done
85.
11.
Yeah. Some
Wow.
85-year-old man said, I haven't missed one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
It's
he
like
carries his
15 of
own
them or
bag.
something. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Like,
we carried too.
no.
I was just gonna do the push
I did
cart.
too. I did not have a caddy like Matt. So
Yeah.
well, I pushed.
Some people are smarter than others. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I was gonna do the push cart and be great, but then all the other guys I was with were just, no, we're just gonna carry. So I got a Jones bag. It's very cushy, like it was fine, but no, I didn't have enough. I needed another pair of shoes. Was my problem. Like I had.
Oh, you only brought one,
Had
huh?
some good socks working through, but the shoes just broke down, and then those blisters
Yeah,
didn't go away for 2 weeks.
I learned that right away. So
Yeah.
the first one I had, I brought 2 pairs of shoes, but I didn't look. I brought some new FootJoys, the Flex, when they came out.
Yeah.
And we played Eugene Country Club the
Nice.
day before, 2 days before, and they put a blister on my heel.
Oh man.
And so I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm going into 40 miles of walking with
Right.
a blister.
Yeah.
So I knew right, hey, it has to be comfortable, it has to be broken in, and you have to bring multiple socks, and you change every round.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
Did you guys
Okay,
have
go ahead.
so the driver from Sheep Ranch to Bandon? Do you guys have the lady? You would remember.
I don't remember.
So no.
Uh-oh.
Oh my goodness. We were all sitting there white knuckling. Like, you know, that road between like
Yeah.
Serious Roof Through was 50
Oh,
plus.
so she was whipping it.
She
was
was
whipping it.
Oh, I wish.
50
No.
plus. We were all just like sitting there like looking at each other. Like we're supposed to be eating our sandwiches in between, and we're all just kind of like, is this our last sandwich? Like it was
Wow.
full compression. Just it was.
She's like, we're on a
nuts.
timeline here. It's a solstice. We got to get you through these courses.
She's
Let's
like, they
go.
don't let me drive normally, but for the solstice, they bring me back. And like, she thinks she's all funny and stuff. And we're like, we're gonna die. She was amazing. Yeah, I've never seen her before,
Oh.
but no,
That's
for solstice,
awesome.
they bring her out to go from Sheep Ranch to Bandon, and she gets us there fast.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
pure God, man. We were kissing the ground when we got out of that bus.
That's awesome, man.
Okay, so
Oh.
my question, a question I have, being a resident of Oregon and a golfer and someone who's in the golf business, does Bandon have the alluring effect on you like it has on people that can't go there on a Sunday afternoon if they want to?
I mean, I still can't. Like, I'm close enough that I feel like I should, but I still can't and don't. No, it's still amazing. Like, it's, even though it's kind of in my backyard, it's every bit as awesome as like if I never got to enjoy it. Like every time you go back, it's just as good, if not better. Like everyone there's super nice. The courses are all amazing. It's just it's golf perfection. Like people,
It's magic, dude.
a lot of my friends who aren't golfers don't realize that we have some, like some of the top courses in the world all in one location in Bandon. Like Bandon's a really boring town other than the golf. Like there's not a whole lot going on there. Most of the Southern Oregon coast towns are kind of lame. Like they're just where old people go to die, kind of. But Bandon has amazing golf, and no, I think again, it feels like I should be able to just go over for a day trip, right? So one time I went over with one of my buddies, and he was already there or something. Like he was driving in, and I was going to try and just go play like 2.5 rounds with them, because you get the first round's expensive, second round's half price, third round's free, right? And so you want to play as much as you can. And so I go over there. I leave at like 5 in the morning, 4:35 in the morning. Get there in time to warm up, and then played 2.5 rounds. I think I finished Pack Dunes. I think we were coming in on 7 and finished at the Punch Bowl. go in, go to McKee's, have the meatloaf, and then I tried to drive home. And mistakes were made. I had to stop, I think 3 times to take naps on the way. I think I finally got home like 3 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Told myself I'd never do that again. And then like 2 years later, I did it again, which went similarly badly. But no, it's right there. And I want to go all the time. But there's a lot of other good golf around here too. Like Southern Oregon has good, cheap golf. That
we got Bend there too, which has like Pronghorn and Tetherow. Have you ever played Tetherow?
I have been there. I haven't played it yet.
Ooh, I want to play that really
amazing.
badly.
The putting green, been to that. It was really nice.
Well, I've played Eugene Country Club, which is, oh my God, it's spectacular.
Yeah.
Played Emerald Valley in Eugene as well, which is where the Oregon team practices out of. And it's, I mean, someone coming from the desert, that place is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then Joe and I, what was it called, Joe?
Diamond Woods.
Diamond Woods, which is a little north of Eugene.
Okay.
It's, I mean, that was a blast.
It was fun.
It was so much fun. We got there because the rain, a ton of rain came through and did a lot of damage on Emerald Valley. So we got my buddy Todd. Do you know Todd? You know Todd. Yeah. He was going to play with us, but he's like, you don't want to play there. He goes, go play Diamond Woods. And so we got off the plane, got our rental car, drove straight there, teed off at like 6:40 and finished, in plenty of time. We were flying though.
Wow.
But it was a blast. Really good golf. And like you said, very affordable.
I did another one of my bucket list things I always wanted to do was play every golf course you could see from the freeway in Oregon. So I started up, I think it was Heron Lakes. Is that what it's called? Anyways, so west of the freeway, it's like near the Portland racetrack, the speedway. You can like just barely see the freeway, so it counted. Played there, then played Langdon Farms near Salem. Played, what was the other one? Played Sutherland area. There's one next to the freeway. Played Creswell. There's that course that like splits the freeway. Shot like on my birthday, shot 3 under there, which was like best round officially ever. And then played a couple courses in Medford, and we just road tripped down, saw a golf course, went and played it.
Awesome. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, because now I've got memories going by like every course. Yeah, when I drive by, I remember that hole.
Oh yeah, I remember that hole.
Shanklin in the woods over there.
How many courses do you have there in where you're at?
So we used to have more. Right? We lost one like 2 years ago to a pot farm. So that was unfortunate. Where I grew up playing this par 3 course, so where I kind of learned how to play.
I think my buddy lives up there. He grows weed, I think.
We got a lot of that. It's got a little cheap. So anyways, so we got Dutcher Creek, owned by Dutch Bros, the owner. They're making that one a lot better. At Grants Pass Golf Club, Applegate's a fun little par 3. We did a charity tournament there, and ended up shooting like everyone's talking about that 46 now, right? On 9 holes, we shot a 25, I think.
Oh, wow.
It was 25 or 26. They wrote it down for 27, but it definitely wasn't 27. They were doing those things where like you put a ball on top of a red Solo cup or whatever and hit it with like a 6-foot driver, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There were a couple of those holes. One of them, it was like a pretty short, it's a very drivable par 4. It's a short course, but that first drive, like did a long driver with it, put it 140 out or something. And we also had string. And so that 140-yard shot was our shot, like our tee shot, right? I stuck it to a foot, like 8 inches, cut our string, hole in one. Three or 4 holes later, we had to like put a red Solo cup on top of a ball, hit my driver, pull hook, but we had, I think, 170 in. Stuck it to like 2 feet from 170, had just enough string to put us in. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, 2 hole-in-ones on the card. That's, that one,
and you still didn't do a 46.
Still wouldn't. No. We did. I think we had 1 bogey, but still, no. I think those guys didn't know how mulligans worked personally. But
100%.
Right?
It's got to be. Yeah, I just don't see it. So in your area, right? Because I'm curious about this because when we went to Solstice, it was my first time ever in Oregon, and I fell in love with the place. Like, it's the greenest place I've ever been in my entire life. Are you seeing the rise in like tee times booked? Very difficult to play golf at any courses near you, or is it you got to book a week out, 2 weeks out, or is it you can jump on whenever you want out there?
It's not jump on whenever you want. A lot of the old people take some of the early tee times, but honestly, I've got a TrackMan in my shop, so I play on that a lot.
Sick. Yeah.
And then yeah, I've got buddies that are members at some local courses, and so they'll just invite me out here and there, and then I go to Bandon. So honestly, I've got 3 kids, like 7, 5, and 1, and almost 1.5. And so yeah, my wife's
I
doing
was
bedtime
literally
right now.
when I messaged you, like, do you want to get on the podcast? I was literally looking on Zillow, like, for houses that are as close to Bandon as possible with a good like course in the area where I could play. Like, do you need an intern, Bradley? Like,
right.
like
Grants
I
Pass is
love
pretty good for that,
love it.
but
Love it up there.
I was born and raised here, went to Oregon State for college, came back. It's heavenly. Like,
It's
get
amazing.
just enough snow to make it still magical. Like, we get 1 or 2 good snows a year, but not too much. You can really, I mean, it rains and stuff, but the whole rest of the week is dry. So there'll be, you can play golf year round here. A lot of it's a relatively, like, it's a poor area for like people with jobs, but all the retired people move here. So, but then they're snowbirds, so they're in Arizona right now, and so the course kind of opens up because there's all the rich people that live on the course are gone. So yeah, it's Grants Pass is great. It's, the real estate market's still a little bit crazy around here, but it's getting better.
Well, and I love when you're really talented at bringing your community and your life to Instagram. You do a lot of stories just walking around town. That one story you did, I don't know how long ago it was, about the truck that just kept on getting tickets.
that was ridiculous.
That was hilarious. I mean, it's small town. It really brings a small town atmosphere to it,
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that. So what got you into putters? Where did it come from? What made you go, hell, let's give it a shot?
Yeah, it's probably the love of wood first. I'll take that the wrong way. So when I was little, my dad, he did woodworking, like making really fancy boxes with really cool like geometric designs on top. So I've got scars on my legs and hands and stuff from like playing with his X-Acto knives and things and like cutting myself. And he used to whittle and all that. So, but like not carpentry stuff, like small form whittling and sculpting. So loved that. And then I was an engineer. Spent about 10 years designing military equipment to survive nukes. So a lot of programming, a lot of mechanical engineering degree from Oregon State. So I knew my way around materials and physics and all that jazz. But one of my friends was in the local parade, and he was passing out like gifts or like 10% off tokens for he's a burl wood supplier. So he gets crazy woods that are like misshapen and weird looking, but they're beautiful when you cut them, and he sells those all.
Hey, are you back?
I can hear you now.
There we go.
That was weird. It just cut out and decided, nope.
AirPods are like, I'm done with this.
I guess. I mean, they're still got power, but who knows?
Okay, so you were talking about the wood. You got this exotic wood that looked amazing when you cut it.
Yeah, so I wanted to incorporate it maybe into electronics or incorporate it into, I just veneer it, do something with this special material. And I was up in Portland at have you guys ever been to the Real Mother Goose store that was downtown there?
No.
It's like super high-end furniture, crazy carpentry, like super exotic chairs and stuff. And I saw this wooden drum that had these like interesting cutouts on it. It's like a solid piece, but had cutouts. And I pictured it like, you hit it with a little hammer and it made cool sounds. So I pictured a golf ball dropping on it and thought, like, what if you made a putter that had those cutouts in it and made a cool sound? Like, sounds like an interesting project. So I got that idea on Black Friday of 2016. Saturday, I built a website, just did some Facebook ads and stuff with a landing page, saw if there was any interest, got a few hits. Sunday, I built the designs and quickly realized that doing that cutout was going to be a terrible idea. On Monday, I built my first design and went to a friend's wood shop and just like tried out stuff. Tuesday, built the second design, made some improvements. Wednesday, shafted them up, went to like a pawn shop, bought some old putters and like glued the shafts in with the grips already in place. And Thursday, had them out at the course to try them out and see what people thought. First one was terrible, and it like I thought it was good, but looking back at it now, it's really, really bad. Like too light. I like was pouring the lead into the wood itself and scorching and all sorts of crazy stuff, losing who knows how many years of my life. And then took the second one straight to the driving range and hit it full, like hit like a 5-iron to see what the failure modes were, so I could start making it stronger.
Yeah.
And then just kept getting better and better with it. Got hit up by the putt ski guys. They made like skee ball putters, and they had extra space at their booth at the PGA show, and invited me to tag along and just take up kind of a 10 by 10. And yeah, end of January of 2017, I was at the PGA show, and Sean Zach at golf.com found the booth, thought it was super cool, took some pictures, and then sent me a link. And he said like the coolest products at the PGA show, and we were the very top one.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, there is someone in town that we know that has had one, and you know, when you're grabbing a wood putter, you're like, why, you know? And I've putted with one, and I was kind of mind blown. I couldn't believe how good it actually felt, you know. And that's, what was that, like 2 or 3 years ago? Probably you made that one, because you have done like engineering on the weights and everything like that, to where it does actually feel like a putter, and it feels fantastic.
Yeah, people, it's always, that was the fun part about going to the trade shows, is someone would, that was before anybody kind of knew who I was. They'd look at the putter and be like, oh, wood putter, like that can't feel good. I'm like, just try it. And they're like, what do you like? Why? I'm like, just pick it up and hit it. Like, I could explain it to you, or you're actually here, just pick it up and hit it. And they'd hit it, and every time, like, especially the most skeptical ones, they would like slowly look up with like a side eye and be like, how'd you do that?
What
Yeah.
are you doing
Yeah.
here?
Right?
What kind of wizardry is this?
Yeah.
Wizard!
Black magic.
No, I mean, it's material science. It's a gorgeous material, but it's low density, and which allows me to put high density weights around the perimeter, symmetrically placed, and so you get high moment of inertia because the majority of your weight is as far away from the impact point as possible, so the face doesn't want to twist on off center hits. And then you get really good feedback on where you hit it on the face, because there's a bunch of individual weights that act almost like tuning forks in a way, where when you hit the sweet spot, they're all vibrating at the same time, and it just feels super solid. And if you get off of that, then the sound waves are bouncing around a little bit differently, and you feel that, you know, it's different. So like, you know, you strum a guitar string and then you hit like the harmonics, it just, you know, it's beautiful. If you're off the harmonic, it goes and you know it. And so you can't do that with steel. You can't do that with aluminum. Like the densities, the speed of sound through those materials are too similar, so you don't get really good feel. Whereas with these putters, you get the density of stabilized wood and acrylic versus lead are vastly different, and so you get good bouncing off of the sound waves. So you get really beautiful feel with these putters, which is what you're noticing. It's just, and then I can do really cool, like I figured out first was, can I make a putter that actually works and feels good? Like that's the most important thing. I don't want these just to sit on you know, someone's desk. But then people kept messaging me like, oh yeah, I keep getting asked about this. Like every time I take it out, someone wants to know about the putter. And so I started like realizing I could build cool things into the putter that tell someone's story. And that's where things kind of took off. And you know, I remember at the first trade show telling people like, oh, I think I'll be able to sell these for like $500. And they're like, yeah, no, you're not. Like, you're crazy. Like rolling their eyes. And yeah, we're a little bit past that now.
Yeah, just a little bit. So where was your vision at when you started with this? What was your goal in mind? Because I know it's kind of gone 90 degrees the other way with what you're doing now, but what was your ambition when you got into it? What did you want to do?
I mean, I want to make a cool company that I enjoyed working in, employ some good people, and make enough money to support my family. That was kind of the goal. And then it's just taken a lot of different turns trying to figure, like I've had partners that wanted to try and like buy out other companies and make it really big. And right now it's just me. Like I don't have any employees, and kind of just back to the beginning of how I started, and just like I've built up a lot of processes and crazy technology that allows me to do a lot of different things, but I don't need, like now I can just focus on the crazy artwork and not having to do volume. I can just work on the most ridiculous putters for the coolest people, and not worry about
that Maryland putter, that Maryland flag putter.
Yeah,
Holy crap. That was
That
ridiculous.
I told that guy no so many times. Like I will laser engrave it for you, and he's like, nope, not good enough. I want it solid all the way through. And yeah, I mean, and if you guys know what the Maryland flag looks like, it's ridiculous. Like it looks
Yeah.
like puzzle pieces. It's got the diagonal stuff. I knew I would do that because it's just drum sanding some pieces to planing some wood down so it's all same thickness. Cut it at the right angle, offset it. That's pretty straightforward. But then the puzzle pieces, that's where I had to figure out. Like I was trying to think of 3D printing and like creating molds for each individual piece because you've got like a crazy one and another crazy one fits in. But then the revelation was like, well, no, it's a square, right? And so like all I need to do is make one of them and then put that into a square, pour the other color, and that gives me a square that I can then glue together and make it work. And so a lot of times, like, I spend about a half hour on the phone with each person, at least a half hour to an hour, just coming up with the designs. And a lot of times I'm literally just trying to think up how I'm going to do what they want me to do. Like,
Yeah.
And so that one was one where it was actually over Instagram. And at first I'm telling him, no, no, no. And like, oh, I guess I could do this. Okay, I could do that. All right, let's do it. So
I think when you posted that Maryland putter, I think I messaged Matt and I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? It's insane. Like, this is crazy. And that's what's so cool is you're able to bring these visions to life. Like, because you can't, it's things that you can't do with steel that you're able to bring to life, and the creativity and the art that is placed in every piece is insane. Like,
thanks, man.
That Maryland putter was crazy. That was probably the biggest one where I was like, this fucking guy, this
blew me away.
black magic dude from Grants Pass, Oregon. What is he doing?
Well, that was fun because I documented a lot of the process and like how things were working and what wasn't working. And now
we love seeing that. We love seeing that because every time you post a story, I'm tuning in to see what you're up to.
Well, what's hard right now, I can't talk about it exactly, but like I've got Christmas gift putters for people that are like followers of mine that would totally know it's theirs because I'm making one based off of a very specific vehicle. And they would know, oh, that's mine because there's very few of them. Things like that, where it's going to be sick. And I can't wait to show off some of the stuff. But like, I can't do. Well, here's one. So you guys know the Fade and Fairway.
Yeah. The Portland carpet.
Yeah. So you guys will see this. But yeah. So that's the PDX has a unique carpet. And he sent me a piece of it. I think it was a bag tag or something. And right now it's just in wood with the Portland or the PDX carpet and then clear acrylic over it. So everything's perfect so far, but it's not a Christmas gift, so I haven't been like rushing this one. But yeah, it's going to be very simple for the most part, but it's got some maple, just some Northwest maple, and then that beautiful carpet. And he'll just be looking down at the PDX carpet every time he putts.
Sick. So sick.
It's just stupid.
So I love when you go into the details on specific build, or not really specific builds, but just any build, the process. Because I think a lot of people are like numb to the process. Like they think, oh, it's a wood putter. He went out back, took a tree, shaped it, stuck a shaft in it, glossed it, and shipped it. It's way more than that.
There's a few more steps than that. Yeah,
just a few more steps than that. So. I mean, in some way that you could summarize everything that you go through to make sure what is happening happens. Try to explain that.
Yeah. So first, the wood itself, like depending on the putter, some people send me an interesting piece of wood. Like a guy went to Notre Dame and was standing on the bleachers and was jumping up and down, and the bleacher broke under him. So he sent me that piece of wood. Like he had it just, in his den. A lot of people have just cool pieces of wood in their den and they send them to me. And so I kept like the shattered piece of that. So when he putts with, like, you can see how it was shattered because it adds to the story of it.
Yeah.
But so someone sends me wood or I find a cool piece of wood. First I have to dry it. So I put it in a toaster oven and I have to weigh it down to the gram, and I just keep weighing it till.
So it's a straight up toaster oven?
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Wow.
It's really high tech. But I weigh it until there's no more water evaporating off of it, essentially. Once it's to that point, I have to first let it cool down below 80 degrees, and then I put it into a vacuum chamber that's got cactus juice in it. So it's not actually cactus juice, but it's a stabilizing resin. And I pull a vacuum on it, and I let that run for a long time, like sometimes a full day, but at least 4 hours. Pulls all the air out of it, and then once I release the vacuum,
Compressor time.
There goes the
I
vacuum.
know, right? Perfect. Get out of here. So I'll go into the room with the vacuum. So so I pull a vacuum on it, and then it so when I release the vacuum, it like injects the rest of the resin into the wood. I let that just soak for another day or so. Then I put it into an oven and bake it, and that turns the wood from like just normal wood to almost like a plastic. Like it makes it much harder, makes it much more much more machinable, less likely to splinter, much more durable, just better in every way. And so all that just to make the block that I'm going to kind of start with. And then if I'm adding acrylic to it, I have to prep it for a mold. I have to, sometimes I'll like do 3D prints and either put the 3D printed piece on the wood or create a mold and then pour acrylic into the mold. And then like if I'm Maryland one, I had to first 3D print like a hard mold. Then I had to pour a silicone like resin into that, let it cure, then take that mold and pour acrylic into that, then pull that out and put the rest, and then put everything together and then create the rest of the block. So there can be a lot of steps just to get to the acrylic pour. Then with the acrylic pour, I've got 12 minutes to make everything essentially. Like it cures pretty fast. I've got 12 minutes of work time. It has to be in a toaster oven to start with, so there's no moisture because I don't make it cloudy. Then I put that into a pressure pot at 70 psi so that it crushes all the bubbles, so it becomes perfectly clear. All that then has to cure for at least 2 hours, ideally 3. Then that goes back into the oven to cure again, and that gets it up to the hardness of at least like a 70 on a Shore D, which is just this little poker thing that I poke into it, and how far it pokes tells me how hard the wood is. And if all that didn't go perfectly and it's too soft, then I have to start over. So all that just to get me to
wow.
Yeah. So all that to get me to like a block of wood with some acrylic on it. And then from there, I have to do density calculations to determine how much weight to put in. So I've got a guy here in town that I created a mold for him to make me lead weights that are all different, like all the same diameter, just different heights. And then I'll place those, like I've got those separated out down to the gram. And I determine how much lead I need to put in to reach my target weight. And then I split the block in half, put it into a drill press, and I have to cut each hole to the exact height of each weight. So I have to like do a lot of measurements for each one, and then epoxy everything into place and line everything back up with that piece that I cut off, so it makes the seam disappear. So all that to get weights in it. Once I've done that, I have to let that cure overnight, at least ideally 2 days or more, also with the post cure just to get it. Otherwise it stays gummy. Then from there, I'll do the shaping on it. So that's all done by hand, just using like a bandsaw, belt sander, a few other just simple tools. And then once I've got the shape, then I've been doing a lot of acrylic engravings lately. And that's where I can get really artsy fartsy with it, like Van Gogh style and all that. But for that, I have to, on the computer, create a digital drawing where I separate out the areas that I want to have certain colors. And it's kind of like screen printing, but with UV resin and lasers and fancy stuff. So I'll, like for a sunset, I will cut out, like I'll just drop the height of a wood in the area that I want a sunset to be. And then I'll just keep like layering liquid colors essentially until I get it exactly how I want. It takes about 20 minutes per area just because I've got to get it perfect with no bubbles, and then I have to do a really slow cure on it. Otherwise, if it cures too quickly, it creates more bubbles and looks terrible. So all that, and then each color area I do is another 20 minutes in the laser and 20 plus minutes of like putting the resin in the right spots, and then another 10 minutes in the UV before it goes back in for the next. And I'll do 7+ layers sometimes just to get the right artwork image. And then shafting it, that's where it's a lot harder to shaft these than it is to shaft just a normal steel putter, because they're fragile until they're all set. And like if you put things in wrong and torque things wrong, bad things can happen. Once everything's set, you could pretty much hit it like a 5-iron and you'll be fine. And if it does ever break, it's guaranteed for life, so I'll fix it. But you've got to do all that stuff exactly right. All the tip prep, like some people can just throw it on a belt sander, grind off the tip, and you're done. Like I have to do a lot more steps than that, prepping the hole, prepping the shaft. Otherwise, it'll just pop out, which happened years and years ago, and took a long time to figure that one out. So yeah, it'd be great if I could just go back in the woodshed, grab a piece, and put a shaft in. I did that actually with the 2x4 once because a lot of people thought that's what I was doing, and so I took it to a trade show and here's your 2x4 putter. They're like, oh, it's just a wood putter, right? I'm like, no, here you go. And if anyone was having a bad day, no matter what, literally every time I handed that putter to someone, they giggled like a schoolgirl.
Yeah.
Because it's so light. Like they just whip it around. They're like, no, that's not, no, you're kidding. I'm like, yeah, like there's no weight in it. There's no balance to it. Like it's not face balance, or, I can do whatever balance someone needs, but like there's no tech in it. It's just wood on the end of a stick, and it's laughably bad.
That is a hell of a process.
So if anybody that goes to your website or is looking for a secondhand putter from you and sees a price and goes, what the fuck? Just rewind the last 5 minutes and listen to that again.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hell of a process.
That is not having to program. No disrespect to CNC steel putter makers, because there's some amazing ones out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that is not putting a block of steel in a machine and hitting a button.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's 100% handcrafted. Like from
when I've done the CNC stuff, like I was a mechanical engineer first, so I literally wrote G code in Notepad. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I did those designs for that. I farmed those off, and I got out of that world because I couldn't be as good as those guys. Like I don't have the tools in the shop, and I know my lane. I'm going to stick in that. But yeah, I've done that whole world. I know what it takes. I know how hard it is. But yeah, it's just very different what I do, and I just have so much more at my fingertips that I can do than metal. Like
you can be way more creative.
Yeah, every single putter I do is
you're not going to find a steel putter different. With PDX carpet on it.
No.
Yeah.
No. The stories that I'm going to be doing a meteorite putter shortly.
I'm gonna find some Stardust carpet.
Here's a cool one. I can describe it for other people on the podcast, but so this one's pretty simple. It's just like a river scene with some camp chairs, a palm tree, and then there's little donkeys and stuff. But those mountains, any beer drinkers in here?
Yeah.
You recognize those mountains there with the blue line on top? That's the
Rockies.
Coors Light, baby.
Oh Jesus!
So those are like the legit. Like I took it from like the label and put the Coors Light because the guy drinks a ton of Coors.
Do they turn blue when it's cold?
Yeah, ice cold. When your putting's ice cold. Unfortunately, no.
That's something new that could cover when your putting's ice cold. The mountains turn blue.
So tell us some blowback you've gotten from the golf industry on what you're doing, because it's very non-traditional.
It used to be more often, honestly. Like the golf subreddit. You guys ever on that?
Occasionally.
They scare me.
Yeah. Right? They're scary. Like so they will rip people apart.
I've seen you pop up. I've seen you pop up on
they love me.
You kill it on Reddit and Facebook and I mean some of your stories, and I'm like, how the hell is this engineer making wood putters getting 40,000 people tuning in to watch him whittle away? It's unbelievable.
I don't know either. But no, I mean the Reddit community has been awesome. Like I mean I'm on there too much anyway, so I know the memes and the fun stuff, but yeah, I mean, I used to get a lot of pushback and like have to argue with people like saying, there's no way that's a good putter. Like that thing sucks. I'm like, have you ever rolled it? Like I used to spend more time on that. I honestly, in like 3 or 4 years, I haven't had more than a handful of people want to give me pushback or argue. Like the people who know, like I've got enough in, 5-star reviews. I've got enough people that anytime anybody's like on Reddit now, when someone says anything, I don't have to reply because there's people that have my putters who are like, yeah, I thought the same thing. And I talked to him and I didn't think it was going to be good, but I got one anyways. And it's the best putter I've ever had. And like, I've got enough of those believers now that are like, yeah, they're actually legit. You should get one if you're interested in, I mean, they're not for everyone. Like if they were, I couldn't keep up anyways. So that's not what I'm about. Like if someone's like, if there's any arguing to be had at all, I'm just like, cool. Bye. Like I don't need to. There's enough people that cannot wait to get a putter in their hands. They're saving up for it. They're stoked for it. They're they know what I'm about, that arguing with it's always 13-year-olds. Like something about that age. Like they're arguing with me, they're trying to haggle, and then they're like, "Oh well, I can't afford that. I'm in high school." I'm like, "I know you are. Like that's why I'm being very polite, but I'm not giving you a whole lot of time of day because for some reason it's always the really young ones." But no, people that know what I'm doing are like, "You should charge a lot more."
Yeah.
Okay, so you're big enough to where you're getting inundated constantly with, "I'm a college golfer and I could really rep your brand really." How many a day are you getting?
That's slowed down. It was so for a while there, I was getting asked, like people wanted to work for me all the time. That was a couple of weeks. That's died off thankfully because that's not what I'm doing or posting about. And then the people asking for free stuff. That again, year or two ago was like every day. It was nuts. It's tapered off thankfully. I mean, I like my volume is so low. I'm like, why would I spend like a long time on making someone with 300 followers anything? Like, I'm sorry, but people pay me good money to make these things. Why am I going to make a free one for somebody? Like, it's not fair to the people that are paying good money. Like, even like I don't do sales. I don't do like hardly anything. Like, I'm always thinking about, okay, someone, it takes me a month to make one of these things, and someone that bought one 2 weeks ago sees that I'm running a sale. Like, I think about how are they going to feel about that? So it's not like, I don't want to make anyone ever feel bad about a transaction they had with me for any reason at all. Like, I will go above and beyond. And so, if I'm ever completely zeroed out on putters, maybe you'll see a sale, but that's not, I would much rather just focus on making sick putters. People like, I mean, people on Reddit are now like, wait, you only charged $1,100 for that one? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I went a little hard on that one, harder than I needed to. Like, that one should be way more than that. Whereas before, it's like, you're trying to charge how much for a putter? Like, people see the value that I'm providing now and are like, no, that's actually worth a lot. I'm like, trying to make them priceless.
Yeah.
What's your backlog at right now? How far back are you booked?
I'm not far at all. So a couple reasons for that. So Christmas is, I want to make sure I can get them done by Christmas. And so I took orders and I stopped taking Christmas orders a while ago. And so I'm going to be finishing up this one. I need to do a Koa inlay tonight. I'm going to be finishing that up before I go so I can shaft it. I've got 2 shafted there. They need to go to gloss. I've got another half dozen at gloss right now that I'm going to be picking up. Hopefully he has them done so I can ship them tomorrow. So I've got 3 Christmas ones that are almost done. And then I've got one last crazy one that I'll pretty much be spending all week on to finish up. And that's kind of like been my focus is I don't want to be focusing on taking a bunch of new orders when I've got to get these Christmas ones done. So I'm like, and I also try to keep a short lead time because it takes so much brain power. Like, I've got to be focused on what the project is. And so when I'm talking to someone, I build the putter in my head before I even get to the computer to like put it into the order system. And if I then went 2 months before I had time to go back to that, it'd all be gone. It would be jumbled. So I use software, like there's a bunch of stuff to track it. I try and do as much as I can right up front, but like I can't have it take that long. Like so I mean, everything takes a while, but I try and like as soon as the order comes in, I try and go pick the wood out. I try and do the artwork while it's fresh in my mind. I know what I want to do, get it done. And then because I'm moving quickly on that, I don't need to, like, I don't want to have 6-month lead times. Like it doesn't work for how detailed I'm doing things,
What's your typical, like, I mean,
1 to 2 months.
1 to 2 months.
Yeah. It's sometimes way longer. Sometimes shorter. Like I've had people need one like that week and I crank something out for them. Using some heads I've got left over from something, but no, it's usually, I want to get it to gloss, which is about a week-long process within like 3 weeks. Just cause I've got to get the idea in my head into real life before it blasts away.
Yeah. You were awesome to work because you did a putter for us for our Legends Never Die event.
That one is super cool.
Oh, we really, we
the railroad ties,
railroad tie, and you were like, hey, that's not going to work, but let's try this. So, I mean, it was awesome that you had different ideas, and I mean, God, that putter came out so good.
Yeah, well, that creosote is just so nasty. Like, I mean, even drying it the off gassing. Like I've gotten my back door I can open up, thankfully, but even that, I remember the smell still isn't out of my nose. It's nasty stuff.
Well, it just like at, what is it, 16 at Old Mac, that where you got to ring the bell, that bunker reeks of the wood, because it's so soaked with train shit.
Seriously. So yeah, that was a fun one. I mean, and then I like put it into the kind of make it look like a bunker, right?
So
it's
bunker,
got it was awesome. And it's subtle enough, but it begs a question. Like I always, every time I'm doing one of these putters, I'm designing with the person. A lot of people, well, thankfully not too many, but some people will be like, "Oh, just make me something sick." I'm like, I do not do that. It doesn't work that way. Like it is a collaborative process.
Yeah, you need to help me build a story.
Yeah, like I could literally make anything. I made a putter that's got rubber ducks eating sushi at a sushi bar wearing black tie. Like I can do literally anything. Give me some seeds here to work with. So yeah, it's a process. Go for it.
What have you turned down where you said no?
The Maryland flag one for a long time.
No. You did that one though. I want to know when someone sends you in a request and you just go NO send. How many ebony penis putters have you denied?
Right? No, I do those. No, honestly, I think I may have had one or two people want, like, honestly, as dumb as like curse words on ball markers. I don't curse. I'm a square when it comes to that, and so I won't put that on my stuff. But that's like one or two ever. No, some people want ashes in their putters, and I make sure, like, I will be as honest with people as possible. Like, talk through every possible story that could come out of that. Or like people will want the date that their dad passed away on their putter. I'm like, that's a sad day, right? Like, tell me something that you love remembering about your dad. Some of the things you guys did together? Like, what if by the time you got done talking about your dad through this putter, the fact that he died didn't even come up? Let's talk about that. So I'll redirect people a lot of times, or like they'll come at me with just too many ideas that are just gonna be ugly. Like text on the top of the putter is a comment. Can I put my logo on top of the putter? No, like it's not where you want to see it. Let's put it on the bottom. It's gonna be prettier there. So I'll redirect people a lot and try to make it explain why they don't want to do that thing. But no, I mean, pretty much some of my funnest projects are the ones where, like, I don't know if this is possible, but like the Saddam chair putter I did a long time ago, that one was like, could you make a putter out of a chair? I'm like,
that was crazy.
That one was wild. That was one of the first times that I got real weird with something, right? I've had all sorts of different weird woods. Put bear claws in putters, bear fur in putters. I've put a lot of fly fishing lures in putters. That was kind of did a kick out of that for a long time. A lot of crazy flags. A lot of times the Vermont flag. So get this, like, as complicated as my process is now and how long it takes to do the crazy engravings, I used to do it 15 times harder. Like, I used the resin that I used to pour the full putter. I did that for each engraving and had to sand down to it and then pour it again. It couldn't be too thin. And that's a full day process for one color. And then if you sand too far, you have to start completely over again. And if you go too thin with it, it gets cloudy. So nightmare. So I spent about a 2-week session trying to figure out, almost a month, trying to figure out how can I do that better with faster materials that are better quality and all that. And finally worked with a company that said it's not going to work with our product, and we made it work with their product.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was a fun chemistry experiment. But now, and still no one can do it the way we do it. Like we forced something that needed to be done. We forced it, made it happen, and it was tricky. But yeah, I love those projects that just someone doesn't think it's possible.
If I ever decide when I'm going to do this, and you can let me know if anybody's done this or not, I want all the Bandon pencils.
So all the Bandon pencils, that's a very good point question thing. Are there different Bandon pencils?
I don't know. Is there?
Oh, wait.
They all say Bandon Dunes.
I
bring that up because
with my idea
Well, so funny point. So Nick, who was on like watching and who I went
Yeah,
over to Bandon with, he saw an eBay thing where someone sold some Bandon pencils, and he's like, I wonder if I could. She grabbed some Bandon pencils, grabbed some like preserved ball markers, and put it up for like $2.88. And it was kind of a joke between us for like the past couple months. Actually, I think he's had it up since like March, and this past week it sold. Someone bought it.
Wow.
We were, $8 total with shipping, and we're like, no way, it actually worked. And the guy asked, "Hey, I
That's
was
right.
there."
They all just say Bandon Dunes.
Yeah, he was like, I wanted to. Could you get me some of the other ones that the pencils from the other courses? And I'm like, I don't think it's all Bandon Dunes. There aren't pencils. There's ball markers and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So the ball
Right?
markers are all different. That's a good idea. I kind of like that.
I have all the ball
Yeah.
I have all the Seamus ball markers. So
Yeah.
But I like
Yeah,
those.
I've done like coins and ball markers and stuff. A lot of challenge coins. Put a ton of challenge coins and putters. But yeah, I did a couple putters with like all the pencils from the different places that someone's played. Put those all as kind of alignment lines on top. I took wood from Bandon, made a couple putters for them out of Madrone from
nice.
Bandon. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Those,
made a divot tool off some beech wood that we found when we were walking around.
That's cool. Yeah, there's always cars driving down below, and I'm always like, I want to go down and do that. Like, I've done it up in the northern area, but
what is something that you want to do? Not a custom order, but something you want to make.
steampunk putter.
Mm.
Ooh.
Right? Like, I feel like with some gears and some cool stuff, like I could make
Yeah.
a sick steampunk putter. And it's one like I don't have time to do it just for the fun of it, or like problem with spec, like it doesn't make sense for me to ever do like putters on spec because everybody wants something different, or if they see one they like, they're like, oh, could that way more, way less, have different this, be different shape. I'm like, not really. It's pretty much set in wood, stone.
This is what it
And
is.
so-
Yeah.
yeah. So like having, posting a bunch of ideas for people to look through and then come up with their own, I can make that for them. But yeah, I've been trying to get people to do a steampunk putter for a while. But again, it's got to match their story. Like they're going to
Yeah.
get asked about steampunk a lot. Like, do they love steampunk? Like you don't want to just get a steampunk putter because it looks cool unless you've
Right.
got some ties to that, like there's such personal pieces. Like you'll find some of mine on eBay from like a long time ago, but none of the ones that I've done in the past 3 years are anywhere online because
Their
they've
stories.
got
Their story. They're
It's
personal.
attachments.
I'm doing one right now. A guy's dog passed away, so it's a really short-haired dog. So I put I sprinkled some of that in the acrylic, so it's just barely there. It's not obvious, but like dog hair gets everywhere when you got a dog anyway. So it's kind of like that. Like, oh, there's some. Oh no, that's dog hair. Like it got in my putter. So that looks cool. But then on the bottom, I put I composited a bunch of videos and images together and got a picture of like the dog and then the guy with his golf bag walking at his course, like on the bottom of the putter. He's gonna sell it on
Yeah.
eBay. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that's-
Who's
No
gonna
one's
buy
gonna
it?
want that.
who's gonna buy that? Like, it's
Yeah.
on the one hand, it's priceless to the guy I made it for, and it's worthless to anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird thing. Like, a lot of other
that's a
putter
good thing.
manufacturers. Yes and no. Like, I mean, it's what I want to do. It's the direction I've been heading forever.
For you, it's a good thing.
But like you look at Swag, you look at other
Mhm.
putter companies, and they build rarity with like they manufacture their rarity, which
Yes.
is like great for them. They do very well. They have people who buy their stuff who do very well reselling it. There's Scotty has his certain stamps that he puts on things, and that stamp costs an extra $3,000.
Yeah.
I can't in good conscience do that. Like, good for them. And people love that. They more than willing to spend their money on it. Good for them. Like, there's nothing morally wrong from that standpoint. But for me, like, I'm such a, like, I don't even want to make the same putter twice. I want to make each person something new and unique and different.
Yeah.
And so, like, to my detriment as a business, like, there's money to be made on manufacturing rarity. But for me, like, I have to make actual rarity, like,
Yeah.
just as a fault of my own. That's what I do.
So
Yeah.
do you ever see yourself doing a stock line?
No, I experimented with that. I put some putters in Bandon that made out of their stuff, kind of as a stock
Seen
line.
them in there. Yeah.
Yep.
But wood putters are, if they're not yours and you don't know enough about it, why would you they can't be as good as a Scotty. So, and it
Right.
doesn't have the same story attached to it. So, like, a big portion of the value of my putters is the story and
Yeah.
the intrigue that I can build into it. If you're just buying, if you're at a PGA Superstore and you see a wood putter, you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'll spend $1,500 on that. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's
Yeah.
not gonna happen. Not a chance. But if you call me up, we spend half hour at least on the phone. We decide how we're gonna incorporate your dad and the relationship into it. You send me a coin that he gave you that is from the year you were born that he got because whatever, and I put that in on the bottom of the putter, and then we do an engraving of the cabin you guys always went to as kids, or when you were a kid, and the fishing lure is embedded in top that you caught your first fish with. That's what makes it worth. And it's similar amount of work for me to make a stock putter or to make a super custom one. I still have to do everything by hand. There's still a lot of thought I have to put into it. And then you get to follow along every step of the way on Trello as I'm making it. You're seeing picture updates. You're involved. You know what's going on. You have full control over it.
That Trello software is ridiculous.
Oh, and I've got QR codes. So I can just tap into it real quick, take a picture, upload it. The person sees it within 2 minutes. They're messaging me back about it. I can be super efficient. I've got, I hand built my website myself. I've got Zapier handling all the software, moving stuff around. I've got Airtable controlling my database. I've got everything's just tracked to the max. And I spent a long time building that. But once I built that, and I'm like, well, I just kind of automated myself out of a job. So then now I'm back to just doing stuff with my hands because I've automated everything else.
So have you reached out to Mountain Dew for sponsorships?
I know, right? I've got a lot of Mountain Dew in there.
I'm exhausted right now.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Is
that what keeps you going? Is it the
straight
dew?
To the veins?
Straight to the veins.
Between Mountain Dew, watermelon, Red Bull, and that'll get me a long ways. And then settle down every night with a little bit of eggnog and White Christmas, and
there you go. Man, what a day! Yeah,
That's
there
awesome.
You go.
Right?
Well, Jeremy, you've been really quiet.
He's just been staring into my eyes the whole time.
He's a Scotty Cameron aficionado.
Oh, that's awesome! He does great putters.
I am, but I have to tell you, I haven't gone through a lot of the old posts on Instagram, but there's one that caught my eye, and it's the zebra putter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that just because my dad used to play with the zebra putter, I played with the zebra putter when I was little. It's so simple, but it's just it's amazing. You can have such a simple putter, or you can have one of the most amazing designs that took a month to make, and it's just incredible.
Well, you talk about your dad. That's the reason I made that putter.
I read that.
Yeah, it was because her dad used it. He passed away early 90s. And the fun thing is, because each one is so unique, I know the person I made it for. I know the story behind it. Going back, some of the stock ones I did, those are ones that are lost. And I don't even really like that I made those ones, even though it was worth trying out and stuff. But every one I've done where I was on the phone with somebody, I can remember who I did it for and why we did it and why it makes it so special, and the response that they gave to me when they got it, and how much it touched them that I made them a zebra putter, right? Yeah. But the nostalgia there, again, as great as Scotties are, as much as they hold their retail value and collector's value, and they're cool and interesting, there's just very few people are going to ask. So a couple things. If you take a Circle T onto the course, you're playing golf with somebody who doesn't know a ton about Scotty, they're not going to ask you about your putter. Yeah. Someone who knows, oh, you got a Circle T, that's sick, that's great. Yeah. But there's not going to be stories about your childhood. There's not going to be stories about your business. Nothing's going to happen from that. You take any one of my putters and you take it on the course, you will get asked about that.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Agreed. 100%. 100%. Everything else is just a putter.
Right.
Except from Bradley, the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
So any interesting celebrities or PGA players or anything like that?
I did a putter for. I haven't done many celebrity ones in a while. I've done baseball players and stuff, and not crazy ones, just some pictures and.
So the Kardashians aren't knocking down your door?
No, I'm good. No, I did Russell Wilson, pour one out. Okay. Moved to the Broncos, but he played with the Yankees for spring training games.
Yep.
And he sent me the baseball bats from that. I took those baseball bats, turned them into putters for one of his charity
Sick.
events up in
Yeah.
Seattle. So
that's
got to go up
awesome.
there, hang out with some celebs. So we were supposed to play with Kevin Sorbo, like the Hercules guy,
Hercules.
right? And we were supposed to play with John Smoltz, like in
Wow.
the pro-am. I'm like, no freaking way. This is gonna be so cool. I was stoked.
He's a stick.
Right?
Yeah, he is.
So
He
good.
is.
So we get up there and we're looking around the putting green, like, you know, everyone's kind of going off random times, looking, and we're playing like really prospector course up in Claydale and whatever, like really nice place near Seattle. And looking around, don't see Kevin Sorbo. We're like, that's weird. And like, don't see John Smoltz. See like some random small dude over in the corner, but like, don't see him. Time comes up, we go up there and we're like, where's everybody? And the starter's like, oh yeah, Kevin, he just wanted to go play by himself, so he just took off. And but no, you got threesome here, and we look over and there's this, you know, random like 5'4", 120-pound dude sopping wet, and we're like, who's that? Oh, that's John Schultz. Come again? Freaking A. So yeah, he was super nice, dude. We had so much fun. It was great. But yeah, he was not John Schmaltz. It was
You have not won the Cy Young, sir.
That's funny.
no, very different. Yeah. But yeah, it was a cool place, good people. I mean, Russell, he then used my putters at like made a bunch of head covers and cool stuff. He used them at Augusta. He like took pictures with them and like used them down in Mexico. Like, you know, he games my putter. It's super cool. But
Awesome.
yeah, and then a few other, like, made a putter for a cricket player, Jason Roy out of England, out of his Willow cricket bat. That was cool ones.
Lost me at cricket.
I know, right? You got to hit the wicket with your wicket, and then you get a wicket by doing everything's a wicket. I don't know. That's all I know about that game.
No
That's
idea.
more than I know.
I've tried to learn. It still doesn't
Oh.
make sense to me.
I'm upset I have to watch soccer every 4 years.
Right? Hey, there's some good games. Those quarterfinal games, those are great.
That Morocco game was amazing.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm a fan. Yeah, that's kind of the coolest people I've done. Met a few, like I just met some cool people in like Bermuda and random, like what's fun is being a C-level golf celebrity. So like pretty much wherever I go that has a like, you know, a focused group of golf people, someone will recognize me. So like at Bandon this past weekend, I was there, and a couple guys from, that's a course up in Portland. Blanking on it. It's like northwest of Portland. Wildwood. Yeah. So met some of the guys from there and from
Great logo.
Yeah, the Sasquatch.
Yeah, I love it.
But like I'm just there like getting ready because it's at the sheep ranch and the range is packed. Everyone's kind of waiting, and so I'm just standing there. And when a guy looks around, he's like, "What putter you got today?" I'm like, "What?" So, yeah, and then but we met some really cool people. And yeah,
you said a magic word. You said Sasquatch. So yeah. I told Joe one of my first times in Oregon, I drove from Crater Lake to Bandon, and that stretch of road, mind you, one of the most fun driving experiences I've ever had in my life. Oregon loves to bank their turns, and I appreciate that. And I had an absolute blast. But as I was driving through that forest, I went, oh yeah, Sasquatch is real, because there's no way in hell anybody would ever find him in that.
Yeah. Yep.
So is Sasquatch real?
What's crazy to me is the number of have you guys watched Survivor Man? No, it's like Bear Grylls, but he's like actually goes out by himself and records himself, and he lives here in town. I've met him a couple times. He kind of believes in Sasquatch. Like I know some really big hunter guys that are out in the woods all the time. They believe in Sasquatch. It's very big down here. I mean, the scientist engineer in me says there's no way. Like it would have been caught on a camera now. And they're like, oh well, they're invisible. They're up in the trees. Yada yada. I'm like, no. As much as it'd be cool, like no. But speaking of great drives, have you done the start of the one in California?
No.
You've got to. Oh my goodness. So there's a road that goes from Grants Pass kind of to Bandon-ish, but it's a road you can't take right now. It's snowed in, called Bear Camp Road. And it's very curvy, one lane, terrifying, but like really fun. The start of the one is twice as crazy as that, but better paved and 2 lane. And we ripped. I mean, we have a Tesla. My wife, she drives for work a ton, and so it just saves us a ton of money. It's great.
Yeah.
We drove that down to Santa Barbara and like stopped on the way. And that stretch of road, we were passing minivans like they were stopped, but you're going up like a 30-degree vertical. There's bank turns everywhere. You can't see more than 100 yards at a time because you're just banking all the time.
Wow.
If you like crazy roads, yeah, I would not bring kids on that one without multiple barf bags.
So we did just confirm August 2024 Bandon trip. Jeremy is going to drive up. So Jeremy, take note.
Yeah.
Don't.
I'm a
It takes a
driver.
long
I am
time. Okay,
I'm
on
a
the
car
way back.
enthusiast, a driver.
He's taking
Definitely.
the family up. So
Okay, if you're taking the family, yeah,
the kids are
Grandma
enthusiasts
moved.
too.
It's such a
All
fun
nuts.
trip, though. It's between like Trinidad and Santa Barbara area, like that
Okay.
whole drive. If you haven't done the 1 and 101, it's a bucket list thing. You've
Yeah,
got to do it. The
for sure.
views, like
Oh, yeah,
your
to do that,
jaw
yeah.
gets tired from saying "wow" every time you go around
Wow.
a corner. It just opens up. You've got insane views of the ocean. You've got crazy hills. Like honestly, it feels like there should be golf courses just lining that. Like it feels very much like Bandon. It's like there's just strawberry fields. Like
Dude,
Wow.
that stretch from Crater Lake to the 15, I was like, I got done and I was like, whew, that was fun.
yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
it is just boom, boom, boom.
Well, that's the northern route, like between like Diamond Lake and Roseburg, right? Is that
Mhm.
the one you took?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it gets. We got some great roads out here. It's
I just
fun.
couldn't believe it. I'm like, does nobody else know about banking curves? Why am I just finding this in Oregon only? This is amazing.
hmm Well, we have so many hills here. Like everything, like there's nothing flat west of the Cascades. Like, and you're always going through river valleys, like because like you got so many mountains, you have to follow the rivers to get through the mountains, and they're
Yeah.
always curvy. And so yeah, you're not finding straight stretches around here.
All right, Brett, tell everybody the website, how they can follow you, how they can find you, processes, and all that good stuff to get them the putter of their dreams.
Yeah, bradleyputters.com. There's a lot of instructions on there, just kind of like how the process works. There's a scheduler on there. You can hop on my schedule, super easy. Bradley Putters on Instagram, Bradley Putters on Facebook, Bradley Putters on TikTok if I ever post there. And then yeah, I mean, just it starts with a conversation. Like there's so many ways I can make your putter. I've got to know who you are or who you're making the putter for, what makes them tick, what do they want to talk about, and then what's their style, what's their personality. And then we design something to match that. You know, it's not here's a putter and let's try to fit them into it. I'll make something I've literally never made before if that's what the project calls for.
Hey, and much kudos to you because you are not one of those ignorant business owners that is like, I'm too big for this. I don't think you never not responded to somebody that's messaged you.
There's a couple 13-year-olds, man, that I can tell they're 13. I'm like,
I'm
no,
I'm not.
These
No,
Reddit users.
or they ask a bunch of questions, and I'll literally just leave it with like, "Hey, have a nice day," and they're like, "No, but I want to get a free putter." I'm like, and I just go after that. But I mean, respect people. Like, I don't need to get something out of somebody to have it be worth my time to interact with them. Like, they're wanting to, like, people ask me all the times, like, how to make stuff on their putters, or like they're trying to make their own. I'm like, I'll help you, man, but I can't hold your hand. Even if I could be over, like if I could FaceTime you, you still couldn't do it with like without having all the right equipment and then knowing everything. So yeah, no, I like people. I like it's just me now in the shop, so I get lonely. So if you message me, it's a little blast of dopamine.
All right, Joe, wrap it up. Bring it home.
All right, man. Another episode of the Chasing Daylight podcast. Thanks for jumping on, Bradley Putter. It's incredible what you're doing, creating stories for people and memorable moments, capturing that for all of us golfers out there. And I hope to do one of these days when I come up with a good story and a good idea. But
Maybe your third kid.
yeah, maybe no third.
Three's
Second's
fine.
coming, then we're done. But yeah, man, hopefully we get to catch you up at Bandon again one of these days, and keep doing your thing, man. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much.
Great shit, man.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you,
Brett.